Hi, good afternoon. My name is Lisa Martin, and I'm the Director of Sales Development with Zipongo. Are you hungry for some insights? And it's a little play on our tagline. So, I want to talk about who we are. My name is Lisa Martin. I am the Director of Sales Development. Zipongo is all about eating well, made simple. Our goal is to empower people to make the right decisions with respect to what they're eating, regardless of where they are, at home, at work, or when they're ordering food. Our clients are large employers, health plans, and integrated health networks that want to address the issue of obesity and chronic disease that are related to the nutrition decisions that their employees make. You probably didn't realize that you make over 200 food decisions a day, and we're helping you make those food decisions. Little fun fact about who we are. We have 2 full-time chefs. They do pop-up lunches on a weekly basis for us. I'm missing it today. And they also share their recipes with us, and sometimes they have us help them cook. They also act as consultants for our clients, and we have a fully stocked bar, and we go through copious amounts of LaCroix sparkling water. It's not alcohol, and it's owned by Shasta, and there's all sorts of stuff on the internet about them. So a little bit about who we were. I started with Zipongo in the fall of 2015. There were 30 employees. There was 1 person in marketing and me. Now, when I talk about our marketing department, we have 2 sides to the marketing department. We have the B2B, which is what I'm on and that 1 person was on. And then we have the B2C, because part of our goal is to, once we sell to the client, we have to engage those employees and make sure that they're using the application. So on the B2B side, it was me and 1 person in marketing. We really didn't have any processes in place. Lead sources weren't required. Campaigns without members. The funnel was done manually. The previous regime didn't understand what they needed to do, and our focus at that time was going to conferences. We went to 40 conferences last year, and if you can't understand what's working, it's kind of a challenge. And the other issue that we had is that we have a very long sales cycle. In the wellness industry, it's typically 12 to 24 months. So when I'm asked where the lead sources were, where we found these people, I couldn't give them that information. And really our focus by going to all these conferences was on building awareness, and that's about it. No processes in place. Drove me a little crazy. Of course, we had the lack of insight to report on any marketing efforts. Methodology and guidelines for making any decisions were non-existent, and as I mentioned, a very long sales cycle. You know, I was tasked many times with determining where these leads were coming from and what the specific sources were. I wasn't able to do that. Managing the SDRs with nothing in place to prove that they were being successful was a real challenge, because that's part of my responsibility. The database was far from clean. It was a dumping ground. When I talk about the database, I'm talking about Salesforce. It was a dumping ground for any type of information. And then, you know, I had to get my head around this long sales cycle and how to get my arms around what was working from a conference cost standpoint. And again, business processes weren't defined. No definition of success. Everything was anecdotal when it came to what was successful. So the previous regime left. I brought in somebody I'd worked with previously. We'd had some prior experience or prior conversations in another company with Full Circle, liked what we saw. So when it came down to making some decisions, do we go with a custom solution or do we go with a third-party solution? And I'm kind of a firm believer, if you don't have to customize, don't do it. The other thing is it had to play well with Salesforce. That's our system of record, that's our source of truth, and if it didn't integrate with Salesforce and it wasn't a tight integration, it wasn't going to work. And it had to be flexible enough to support our marketing focus. And when I say our marketing focus, we're never going to have thousands of leads coming off of our website. Some of the solutions, because we go to conferences, we have a very targeted market. People in wellness industry don't typically do a lot of search on websites. They come to us at conferences. So what I liked about Full Circle is that we didn't have to have a form fill to indicate that something was successful. We could actually indicate something was successful by going out to a conference and bringing those leads back. That was really mission critical in order to be able to determine what was successful. And when it was going back to looking at a third-party solution versus a custom solution, I had actually talked to our developers firm. They have a custom solution, and the conclusion was that we would pretty soon bump up against some constraints with a custom solution. And they are a big supporter and a believer in Full Circle, and they said, hey, it's a good route for you to go. So it was nice having that validation from our developer. So again, why Full Circle? It's native to Salesforce. The methodology helped us make the right decisions at the right time. And we asked for a really aggressive timeline for implementation. I think we approached Allison with a 2-week timeline implementation, and she kind of pulled us back from the ledge, and we talked about reality and said that it wasn't going to happen because we wanted to go through a process. And I can tell you that she forced the best practices on us, and she made us really think about what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it and how we need to achieve, how we wanted to look at results. So through this whole process that took longer than we had planned, but it was a good thing, we were able to define our business processes. And I still refer back to that implementation guide that Allison put together. If I can't remember or I'm trying to figure something out, that's the first place I go. And that was, that document was created over a year ago. So let's talk a little bit about the results. We can now understand what's working, what's not working. We have a better measurement of the inside sales process to begin with and what campaigns they're working on. We can identify where we do and don't perform. This is really critical when it comes to our conferences. Again, it's a very expensive method of generating leads. And if we can't determine that a conference is working, it makes it a real challenge. So we know what's working. We have discrete campaigns that we can report on with campaign members. Oh my goodness, something that we didn't have when I started. And then, within a year, I was able to see a marked improvement in the sales velocity, which made me really happy because it was no longer, well, I don't know, it's no more anecdotal information that we're looking at. And again, I really thank Allison for making sure that we hit our milestones and that we understood what was going on. Very valuable. So from a management perspective, what was important? So marketing couldn't justify the spend on their conferences. Management had a strong belief that conferences were worth the spend, but all we had was anecdotal information from the salespeople. Oh, this was a good conference because I had these conversations. This was a good conference. This wasn't a good conference. So I'm able to look at reports and say, this conference yielded these types of opportunities within our pipeline. And what's really crucial is because we have such a long sales cycle, that if we don't have that information, it could be 12 to 24 months before we realize that conference wasn't worth it, that campaign wasn't worth it. So now we can make decisions a lot quicker and make determinations. Should we continue with this conference? Should we continue with this campaign? And we do campaigns, but again, conferences are a big portion of what we do. And I can draw that direct line between spend results and what we've done within the pipeline. And it allows us to justify our spend. So again, with Full Circle, we understand where we are with our goals and where we get stuck and what's working and what's not working. The demand gen director can quickly make a decision that it's not worth doing this syndication, we should do this syndication. I know what my SDRs are doing on a regular basis. I can see the campaigns that they're working on. I can see what's moving for them. And I know where the leads are sourced from instead of just making guesses. And with Full Circle, what we get is that closed loop reporting that helps us when it comes to making these long-term decisions. So a little bit about where we are, With campaigns and Full Circle, we make decisions much quicker. As far as where we're going in 2018, we're bringing up the new dashboard package, thanks to Terrence. Looking forward to that. And the other thing is the sales team has bought into our process. It was, previously the salespeople didn't have to enter any data. They didn't have to give us any information. Now we've got a pretty clearly defined process of what a salesperson has to do. And the other thing that we find really valuable is we set up 3 funnels. So we have a marketing funnel, we have an SDR funnel, and we have a sales funnel. And we can see, okay, marketing is contributing 75% of our pipeline. SDRs are contributing 20%. Sales is contributing the balance. And it really helps us make some decisions when it comes to where are we going to spend our money. And here's just a sample report of what I look at and what the demand gen, my counterpart in demand gen can look at. We can look at where we are within each of our campaigns with our leads. We know if something is stuck. We know what's closed, what's resolved. It's really helpful, and I look at the dashboard on a regular basis to monitor what's going on. The other thing that I find quite valuable is how long is it taking us to get through a funnel, and where might we be getting stuck? Is it because the SDR team doesn't have time or they're not reaching out? Is it because the outside sales team, they're sitting on the conversions, they're not following up on what needs to happen? And with a long sales cycle, it really helps for me to understand once it gets to a salesperson, it's moving through. That we've moved it through as fast as we can, and now it's up to the salespeople to get it to a closed-won situation. So in summary, I have found that Full Circle is a very valuable tool for us. It gives me insights that I wouldn't have had. We're able to provide marketing and management with information that they wouldn't have had so that they can make more intelligent decisions and justify their spends. Thank you.